First step we need to do is pop this cover up. Also, it wouldn't be a bad idea to disconnect the negative terminal of the battery. Next, we have access to this air box, and there's 3 8mm bolts. So we're going to take those off, pop out the air box filter, and then disconnect it from here. This is just loose, and then we'll be able to take that off. And then we'll go to these bolts, which are, I believe, 10mm, 1, 2, third one in the back, and then we'll be able to lift this off. We'll also have to loosen this clamp right here. This one just pops off, but this clamp will have to get loosened. That way the throttle body hose can kind of be pulled off. All right, once everything is loose, you can kind of pull this back, and you can take the air box out. And then let me cut and take it out. Once the air box is out, the air filter is out, you can lift this part up and just pull it off. It's just held on by pressure. Once all that's off and these nuts are all loose, and this is loose, you can kind of lift this up and pull this up and out so it kind of sticks here, and you just got to pull up a little bit because of that bolt. There we go. This spark plugs, you have to take this hose off, and it just pulls off on both ends. And then we're going to disconnect each 4 of these connectors to the coils, and then we're going to remove these 10mm bolts off each of the coils, and then we'll be able to pull the coils all up. To remove these plugs, you have to get a screwdriver and push from the back. I'll show you on this one. I have to get a smaller screwdriver on that one, but you push from the back till that pops open, and then you'll be able to pull this out a bit more. That's the spot where you need it pulled out, and then you can press it in and you'll be able to remove it. You can press it in with a screwdriver and then pull with your hand and pull it out. After you pull them out, lay them out in the right order that you pulled them out in so you can put them back together. Inspect the coils for oil, and you can see that that one has oil in it. That means that the inside seal for the spark plug tube is leaking. At that point, you're gonna have to change out the valve cover gasket and then change out the spark plug seals. Unfortunately, the valve cover gasket for this car is not available to me locally, so I'm gonna have to take all this stuff off later to do this again. But today we're just gonna change the spark plugs. So at this point, we can drop in our spark plug socket and snake out these spark plugs. And then what I like to do is just loosen up the spark plugs and then use a coil to kind of go in and pop them out one at a time. The spark plug that we're gonna use for this is a NGK plug. Sorry, here we go. DCPR7EN10, which is a nickel plated plug, which is what goes into these holes. It's a 5/8 socket. You can barely see it there because of the reflection, but 5/8 is what fits in there. And you can already tell there's oil on the holes, but yep, 5/8 pull them all out. And you can see, my God, so much oil. Anyway, you take the old coil and you can just pop them out like this, and you can see they need to be replaced. And so these plugs come pre-gapped, so all you got to do is just carefully drop it in there, and then you can just tighten them up and do all 4, and then put the coils back on, and then put the bolts back on for the coils, and then you put the plugs back on to the coils, and at that point you just put your cover back on. The only reason I took the hose off here is because I removed the throttle body to clean it out, but you put your cover back on, you put your air filter back on, hook it back up, and then reconnect your negative terminal if you disconnected it, and you should be good.